it's time for the Everyman, where real man talk.
Let's go. Time to grind, get inside your mind. Yeah, we working overtime. That's the only way to climb. We gon' make it in our prime. Signing on the dotted line, cashing checks left and right. That's the way I'm living life.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Everyman podcast. That would help if I was off mute on the first one.
Wow.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Everyman podcast. Today we are in a very special place. We're in the Gulshan for our first in-person podcast with the boys. Boys, how are you all doing? Reese, we'll go to you first. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. A lot of running. Yeah, really good, Dino.
Nice and informative about how you're doing there, mate. Yeah, good to hear you're doing well. I am doing well. Good week. Bit stressed this morning. We're getting this all set up and that, even though I've sat here and done nothing. But
Except complain.
Yeah, I'm excited. Excited to see what happens and get away at 4 o'clock.
James, how are you? You had an 8-hour drive yesterday down from Scotland, north of Scotland. I think you're in a military or something. We haven't really touched on that actually. So yeah, you've come all the way down from Scotland with my sister. So lucky you being stuck in a car with her for 8 hours. How was it?
She's fine, mate. I was listening to a few of the episodes of the podcast as well, actually. So it's good to hear. Listen to Reese's finally. So I feel like I know a bit more about him. And we're not all strangers coming into it. Yeah, feeling good. Usually feel tired as well after that drive, but feeling good. Must be the pints.
Yeah. Shout out to Sue for the pint. Cheers for that, mate. Really appreciate it. Ethan, how are you doing, mate? You're on. James, what the hell? What was that?
Jesus, sweats.
Yeah. Well,
I better put the mic.
apologies to anyone who was listening with headphones there. To James, absolutely slurping a pint there. Ethan, how are you? Flair's looking on fleek.
Yeah, Flair's looking on fleek.
Flair's on fleek.
Flair's on fleek, kid. Flair's on fleek.
Half a pint. That's what it does for you.
Yeah.
How are you, mate?
I'm wearing Flair's. Vine said dress up nice, and he looks like a pile of shite. So I don't know what's going on. I wore my finest Calvin Klein just for Richie Anderson, his favourite one. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. It's nice to meet James in person. This mic is killing my view on. Yeah, so it's really nice to meet James. Be even better to meet Vine's sister later. Can't wait to flap the moves down on her. Like, yeah, like that. Want to go out or what? Yeah, like that. Yeah, all good on me. I had a couple of tough weeks at work. Everyone knows. I sort of shot myself in the foot. Stroke went above and beyond. So, it was a case of trying to get myself back in reasonable working order at work. I've done that, and it's been a more productive week. Yeah, I'm not causing many problems and not putting out as many fires.
Lost a bit of weight, haven't you?
Yeah, lost a bit of weight. I stepped on the scales, and it got to the point where I was like, I shouldn't really swear, but I was like, fuck, I am fat. And I couldn't even see the number over my gut. So I was like trying to peek over, like, what's that? And they had to ring me mum to come and look at the number and write it down for us because I'm that fat.
Were you naked?
I was naked. And no, I could also not see my penis if that's what you can ask, because that is, I've not seen it in 15 years.
The problem is, all of us have.
Everyone else has seen it. I usually get out in the change rooms, even if I've not been playing. I'm not even in the squad. It's football. I still get my kit off after, and I like it. I don't know. Me and Chrissy Conway in the showers after. It's just majestic.
It is true. That's one thing about Ethan. Whether he plays or not, there's always like a end of game show in the changing rooms, and it's one of those where half of us wish we didn't have to see it, but then half the team absolutely love it and jump in the showers with you and have a great time, right?
Yeah, it's like a car crash. I mean, sometimes you want to see what's going on because you're a nosy bastard, but you don't really want to see because it's like a car crash. So yeah, that is what happens. But I'm playing tomorrow. I'm finally playing. We're playing the cup.
Are you?
Well, so far I am. Got a game next week, and the keeper who's been doing a great job, Alex. Even though he's not as good as me, he's away on holiday next week, so I'm getting a run-up, tune-up game. Feels like I've spoke a lot, and these guys were like, "Yeah, I'm sound."
Yeah. I think what we have to do, and I get it's our first live, and you're obviously as cool as out. These guys need to show up a little bit, right? Are we right with this? So, Reese, I'm going to ask you the question again. How are you? I know you've been super busy with your running. massive achievement with what you've done in your times recently. Talk us through like where you've got to, sort of where you are in your life at the moment in terms of like a mental state. Physically, you're absolutely flying with sort of the exercise that you're doing. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so the running can't be going any better, really. Done a 10K last Sunday. Yeah, 10K last Sunday. And I done took nearly 3 minutes off my 10K PB. Done my first sub 20 5K, but it didn't count. I got a phone call on the Monday off from the lads from Wall's End Harriers saying it's not official. It doesn't count because it wasn't a 5K race. So I had to go on Tuesday night, have an attempt of a 5K, and I done 19 minutes 26, which I was absolutely over the moon with. Because I've never actually done a sub 20, and it's been, well, Dan Ray gave us quite a bit of stick. Dan Ray gave us quite a bit of stick for not getting that sub 20 for quite a while, so it was nice to be able to stick the finger with him. I also started a training plan, ready for my 4 ultra marathons next year. So I've got a few of them to get ready for. So my coach Andy Berry, I started on Tuesday with that. But mentally, probably the best place I've ever been, really. The running, the exercising, the Peroni Zeros, I'm not on there. I'm not on them horrible places. Nah, but yeah, no, I'm in a really good place. It's just exercise. Exercise just makes. I'm doing it. Yeah. This exercise, my job's going great. Just everything, and then obviously with the kids and stuff, we're getting out walking. It's been great, really good.
For me, so Reece, I think between us as a podcast, I think my story is closest to your story in the sense of we have had a similar experiences to a degree. Yours probably slightly to more the extreme of you planned your suicide or got to that sort of point. I never got to that point, but I think the key has been exercise for me as much as it's been for you. And if I look over this last sort of month or so, I think I've trained pretty much every single day, some days even like twice a day with him. And it's honestly, training with him on a morning is the worst experience ever. He's the grumpiest little shit ever known. Like literally, he rocks up late every day and he hates doing the warm up. And the first, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, you can't even speak to you, can you? Like, you are foul on a morning. But actually, being honest, mate, and I didn't want to go into it too much, but we're talking about like where we are and stuff, and I don't want to set the podcast down one road because today's going to be really fun. We're going to have good crack, surely take the piss out of each other throughout the day, which was great. But for me, if I look at this last year for me, without you guys, I probably wouldn't be here, being really honest. And that's not just like physically in the podcast, that's like definitely in the place I am. And I don't know if I'd actually still want to be here. So what we've done in the podcast and how the conversations we've had, pushing each other, checking in on each other, like making sure we're all right. Again, we all have our own battles. We've all had our own sort of challenges. But you guys have been there for me and Slater as well, more than any other people in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. So I want to start the pod on probably a little bit of me being a little bit emotional by saying thank you very much for that. And today is like another step in the pod, right? Where we're going from doing it as a bit of a hobby in our houses, and it's a bit of fun, as Ethan describes it, a bit like a team call. So actually now this is the next step of what we're actually doing. We're getting out to a local business. We're going to start trying to do more in the community and get people to stop struggling how we've struggled, and we've all had struggles. And I just want to take this chance really to thank you all for genuinely being there as my best mates, and I'm super grateful for that. But yeah, it doesn't deserve any more than that, but thank you very much. Why do you look like you're gonna literally eat that mic?
I'm gonna eat it. Can I just say credit you, mate. You've turned yourself around in a difficult situation. Like you don't want to. We're not going to put it down on it because we're going to have a great day. But credit you, mate, for coming out the other side. So you can always text these boys. They leave me last on the list, but yeah, you can always text these boys if you need anything. You know, and I'm always a phone call away if you need it. But,
But the last phone call away, right?
Yeah, the last one. Don't ring me first because I'll be doing stuff. So maybe ring someone else first, like one of these. Can I just say, it takes balls to do that, and I want anyone who's watching and listening, like that's why we set this all up. It was to initially just be a group of pals and James, ba- basically look to talk and help each other. And if we help someone along the way, I always say if we help one person along the way, then it makes a difference. And Vindy, credit to you. I think people out there, if you're listening, just know you'll be going through something, and I'm guaranteed someone else has gone through what you've gone through. So it's about speaking to the right people, finding the right channels to go through. Whether that's us, you can always message me, the lads. We've got LinkedIn, Facebook, things like that. The page itself. You're not alone, and I think that's an issue that we need to make sure. We've all struggled with issues. We've all got through it with friends, but if you're not lucky enough to have friends as good as us, then maybe you can be one of our friends. So yeah, that's my input. So over to you, Rico.
Just to touch on the thank yous, obviously, you gave me the platform initially to come and share my story. And that was a massive help for me to be able to get that off my chest. That helped me more than I thought it would. And as hard as it was, like talking about it, because it isn't easy. It's never easy talking about issues that you've got, but it's the best thing you can do. So for me, when I got to share that, it's also now being involved in the podcast. I love it. I love me Mondays. My missus might not like them as much, but no, it's been a massive help, and I just want to say, like, obviously, a massive thank you to you boys. We obviously met for the C dip, if we can call it that. I didn't really get in fully that day; it was pretty cool, but no, thanks, boys.
Ron, you mentioned their C dip. So for anyone who hasn't seen on Instagram things like that, would you mind maybe sharing for people that are watching now or watch future episodes or listen what sort of the C dips are and where you can find them and how you can get involved potentially?
Yeah, so basically the C dips, there's loads of different groups. So there's groups for just guys, there's groups for just girls. The Ice Guys was the first one I'd done. They meet at 8 o'clock outside of Crusoe's on Long Sands Beach on a Sunday morning, and they do a Friday night session as well. I know the women's groups are also at this like similar sort of place. Thursday nights dip club, but honestly, it clears your mind. You're getting that water. You're walking nice and slowly, and it's a battle walking in that water. And you have a proper mental battle just trying to get in. Once you're in, it feels great. Just everything's gone because you're just trying to focus on not being cold. But yeah, it's definitely worth doing. It's proven that it's really good for your mental health. So it's definitely worth giving it a try if you're struggling.
Top man, Rico. So where could people find these? So it's Instagram, you said. Is it Iceman and Dip Club if you're on Instagram? Things like that.
Ice Guys CIC, that's on Instagram. The Dip Club, I think it's called. I'll have to double check that. We could put in the link for this part on the comments. I'll find the links for the different ones because I'm not sure. I think it's the Wild Sea Women is the Sunday morning alongside Ice Guys. So I'll get their links and I'll post them on this podcast.
Defo.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that we've discussed about lots of times, and we talk about exercise and things, but I think the big change in my mental health, especially like I'm probably in the best state I've been since being young, as in pre-20, like how I feel mentally. Not quite there physically, but I'm getting there. And a lot of it has been around trying to build some sort of system in my life where I try and do one hard thing every single day. Not quite to the extreme of Dean. Dean's on some 75 hard, mad thing, and I'm definitely not on that. But I try and do one thing every day that I know I'm going to struggle with. So whether that's going for a 10K run, whether that's going to the gym, whether that's playing football, like something physical that really pushes me way out my comfort zone. So then, no matter what else happens in my day, nothing's worse than that pain of when you're fucking running down the coast or running up the hill like Tanner's Bank or whatever, and your legs are on fire because you're absolutely knackered. Nothing's harder than that. Like if I have an argument with someone, or I fall out with someone, or like there's a stressful bit at work, or like I don't play well at football, or whatever that might be. I'm generalizing some safe stuff, not the core issues of my life, but any of the real problems in my life never feel as bad when I do something hard every day. And I think getting into that routine, and it doesn't mean that you have to get out and do a 10K. Like I did a post this week when I first came back living where I live now. What was it, April time? Me and you went for a 5K run, and we ran along the coast, Long Sands, and I literally couldn't finish a 5K. I was probably, and I posted about it, I was probably 2 stone heavier. My legs were weak as piss. I was definitely unfit. And you weren't even particularly fit at the time, really, not where you are now and where you were sort of December time. And then I did that run, and I struggled and I failed, obviously, because I didn't complete it. But I walked to the point, and I think that's the key, where you, no matter what position you're in. So Ethan, if we look at even your recovery with your back, you've gone from a place of exercising every single day, and your recovery has been long, and it's still a challenge for you now, right? But the best thing you can do is just get out there and start working, isn't it? Like what it does for your mental health, but equally what it does for you physically, to know that actually, yeah, there's pain, but I can push through it. And the gains you get from overcoming those challenges sets you up even better for the next day.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right, Lou. You know, for anyone that hasn't listened to previous episodes, I had emergency spine surgery. You know, and it was tough. Like, I can't lie, it was really tough. And I've always been a big lad. I love my food. Everyone knows my food's the issue. But I'm one of the hardest trainers. You know, people will say that, especially the size I am. People, you know, will say you're a big fatty. Why do you run so much? Why do you go to the gym so much every day, 5 a.m.? With my pals Rob and Ryan, I'll get them in there. You know, the thing is, for me, you've got a choice, and I had a choice when I had my back problems. It was, I can lie in bed for the next 3 months off work, I can watch all the TV shows that I want, I can eat everything I want, which is ideal. I don't have to move off the sofa unless I need to go to the toilet, have a shower, or whatever. This is the ultimate get out of jail free card and get out of life free card. You can do what you want. Work's not going to bother you. And I thought that would be so cool. Takeaways every day, anything you want. But then you've got the other road. You need to get up, get out the house. Am I going to wallow here, be self-pitiful, and when I go back to work, I'll not be able to walk properly? Because they were honest. They would say, if you don't get up and you don't work, you don't go for walks on crutches, you don't get the blood through the legs, get through the scar, break down the scar tissue in your back, you might struggle to get any feeling back in your left leg, you know, things like that. So I barely give it a week, and I was out on the crutches, you know, in the snow, in the rain. It was winter time. It wasn't like summer where you can go out in shorts and that. And it was tough. But I think if you don't take that road, and I did take that road of lying in bed, eating everything I want, I probably wouldn't be here. You know, and it's testament to the people I've had around us. You know, we joke, but you know, Lewis, you came and seen us when I was not doing very well. Rob and Ryan, you know, Ryan brought us shopping around. Rob was in the house all the time, you know, all the time, just checking on us every day, every hour. And it's lucky I had that support system, but really deep down, I had to do it myself. And you have to get up and you have to go. And if you don't, and you do take the takeaway alley, and you do just sit in bed for 3 months and enjoy time off work, God knows where I would have been. I probably wouldn't have been here. So it's a tough one. You know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and you've got to find what drives you, you know, and what drives you. But
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right there. And conscious that we've covered maybe some older ground there, but I wanted, because it's our first time in person, to maybe have some of those conversations in person, because I think it's very different us having it sat next to you as, again, really close mates with each other versus on a Teams call as you describe it. So Teams call, you're on mute, by the way. It's the usual Teams call. That was a Teams call joke. You don't go on Teams calls very often, do you?
I'm too important for Teams calls. I see face-to-face calls. Can I just say as well, Dean's doing 75-day hard, and I heard he had chicken nuggets at the match the other day. Is this true?
Tell us.
Come on.
It is. My version of 75-day hard is that. Yeah, well, what
is it? Just eat what you want and just train?
No, as long as it's got the calories on, it's inside my calories.
Is it?
Yeah,
no,
that's what I'm doing.
Just checking.
So it's working for us. So I'm happy as long as I'm getting seeing the results, which I am. It doesn't really matter if I cut a corner, but even still, I don't really think it is. But yeah.
So you're not looking at macros like he tries to overcomplicate it. You're thinking more just total calories.
No. So I'm still. So I'm doing. I can't have more than 2,200 calories, averaged over the week, and it's going well. Yeah, protein's my only real target that I've got.
Chicken nuggies not have loads of protein.
I
In chicken nuggies.
think it was like 19 grams according to the NUFC website.
Oh, so you're on the
Yeah,
NFC
yeah.
website. Right, okay.
You've got 813 calories in that.
Okay.
840.
We'll check and let the audience know. Can
Well,
I also address the room that there's a room of you and Vindy going on a special date night of the week that hasn't been addressed yet.
which
I heard from a special source that he was on a date. Someone was on a date.
Jam was on a date. Jam was on a date.
He was on a date and he walked in and he seen two members of this podcast hand in hand bowling on a Saturday night where all the couples were.
So,
Why
just
is he not
to
red as well,
clarify,
Lewis?
it's my natural complexion. Just to clarify that we were not holding hands and we were not bowling. No bowling.
not once we've seen Jam.
Yeah. Once we've seen Jam, we stopped doing that. So what happened was, what did we do that day? We went and watched football, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we watched the Commies team.
We watched the local football team. Then we went for some food. Went to Nando's. No, Commies team. Then we went to the cinema. Then we went for Nando's. Then we were like, there's nothing to do. So we thought we could have done the drive that we did. We could have done the drive.
Hold on. So you went to watch a football match, which is fair enough. You then went to the cinema together. You then went to Nando's together, which is basic bit date. Then you went on a romantic drive. You didn't do the drive.
The drive after.
You did the drive after. So what did you do after those three things?
So we were so bored because so I obviously don't have a missus. He does have a missus, and his missus was out, so he had a free pass. But he's not drinking. So instead of usual Saturday nights, it's like, well, what do we do? Just go to the pub and have a drink. We do listen to our mate Reese. This is an exception. We were like, well, what is there to do? He suggested bowling, and I was like, I don't really like bowling, but we'll go bowling. Went there at like 7:30, couldn't get on till 9. But as we were going, right, we can't get in, we see Jam there on a date, right? So Jam is there on a date with this girl.
Happy to a pool, and then we're left.
Yeah, pretty much.
They do a double date. You two and Jam and this mystery woman.
So what happened? We walk over, right, and Jam is playing pool. And I'm thinking, don't go.
Hold on, he couldn't get in a minute ago. So we is in the bowling, or he's not in the bowling.
We were in the bowling venue. It has an arcade and stuff. It has an arcade. So we thought, we'll stay. We've seen Jam playing pool. So we thought, we'll go over and say hi. Went over and said hi, and Jam clearly was like, oh boys, nice to see you, lads. And the girl, you could see on her face, she was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are they here? But anyway, Dean.
I want to know why the fuck are these two there?
So Dean, having a pool table in his front living room, which everyone will see on the pod every week, decided that he was going to beat this girl at pool.
Easy, smashed her.
Absolutely wiped the floor with her at pool, and then we left because we couldn't play bowling because it was till 9.
I shook a hand afterwards as well.
We ended up going to the pub to watch Man United versus
Burnley.
Burnley. That was it. And not remember that. So we ended up getting caught by this guy.
That's caught doing what? The plot thickens.
Well, he interrupted the date, really, didn't he?
So we were there having a romantic date watching the football, right? And it was one of those where we're just chilling, local pub in Monkseaton, not literally just watching the football, lemonades as well, not drinking. And it gets to like this bloke had been sat next to us since like the 45th minute, not talking to us at all. Gets to like the 90th minute, so we're ready to go. Basically, he then starts talking. He's from Scotland,
but support Northern Ireland, but support Scotland, and then
Blackburn,
Leeds.
And then he was coming over and just wouldn't stop talking for about half an hour. But he wasn't actually wanting to talk to us. He was just talking at us. And do you know when you try and like get out with the conversation a little bit, it was one of those awkward ones, wasn't it? And by this point, it's like 10:30 Saturday, not drinking, and he had a drink, so it was a bit awkward. But that was our bro date. So we've over-explained what happened. Pretty shit story, really. But I felt like I had to justify it because I don't know what you're really
I've just
implying.
got one more question before we move on. Who's a giver and who's a taker? Are you two?
I give loads of friendship to Dean, and I take loads of friendship from Dean.
On the face or? Anyway, moving on. Does everyone notice we have James here, who's also piling into Lucy's
Oh
sister?
shit! Aye.
You can't say that when they're married. Like you cannot. You've had one pint, right? You've reluctantly kept that in for 8 months or 9 months, right? You cannot say that now that he's here, and he's been quiet. He's only young.
That's a pint that's getting reported to Stevie, by the way. These pints are getting reported to Stevie, by the way. Taking their first start seriously, are you?
Harry, stop sticking up for your boyfriend. Jesus. Anyway, James, nice to have you on the podcast, mate. Face to face.
Please shake my hand. Except Ethan.
That Luis Gonzalez podcast, oh, you got blitzed. Like,
Oh, who, me?
you just abused James for being monotone and
Yes, I'm not lying. No offense, mate.
My fault. I'm not confident.
You know what I mean? I'm fat. It's fine. You can't put a lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ, he's got a monotone. No offense, James. That's a nice little find your sister.
Oh God.
Anyway, James.
Yeah. So basically, what's happening? So for everyone here, we have James, Joe behind us on the camera, right? He is literally just barking orders at us, constantly going, "Do this, Mike, or unmute, or whatever," right? So we're there, just having to also react to Job. So, boys, what I want to talk about as well. I set you all the challenge ahead of this podcast to come up with 3 questions. Did you come up with 3 questions, James? So James didn't. Dean, did you?
I don't do homework, mate.
So Dean didn't do homework. Ethan, did you?
Yes, several.
No. So the only person who actually did his homework is Reese. Hands up, Reese. Afternoon. So we've got some comments as well. So Richie's saying new T-shirt, Ethan.
I wore this especially for Richie because it's
Richie.
Richie's favourite top. I also want to give a shout out to Frank, FBC, Arms Under the Hammer, and also Liv, message saying she is watching the pod as well.
Sure. Thanks, Liv. Really appreciate that. Guys, and Paul, this is sadly not an alcohol-free one. This is an alcohol beer. Reese does have alcohol-free, given his story. So massive sort of well done to Reese there for coming up with the boys and doing it. Afternoon to you as well, Buey. Boys, anyone who's listening as well, before we get into the questions, the biggest thing you can do to help us is like, comment, and share. So please share the stream. We want as many people to see it as possible. It really helps us as a podcast in terms of what we're doing, trying to make a difference in men's health. So, Reese, you are the only one who did your homework. So you get your gold star, obviously, from Job. What 3 questions do you have? Let's go with the first one. And you can ask 2 of us to answer it.
Yeah, so the first question, I've got 1 serious and 2 a bit more light now ones. So the first one is, what is the biggest thing that impacts your mental health negatively and positively? Tough one. We're going to start Ethan over here.
What? You weren't even listening.
What? He was not even listening.
Pasta sauce like my bolognese. Good carbonara. Joke aside,
On your carbonara on your bolognese. That explains so much.
Job's going to kill us if I keep touching this. Sorry, what was the question, Judge?
So we're going to pass the question on to Lou now.
I blame Liv. She just texted things as well. I was just cool. Right, give us the question again.
You can't graft on a podcast. That is not a thing. That's not a thing.
Go Lou.
So 2 things. So what negatively impacts my mental health the most, and what positively affects my mental health the most. So negatively, probably not doing the things that I know that positively does affect it. And I know that's such a weird answer, but if I don't exercise regularly, if I don't do things that I actually enjoy, so playing football, seeing you lot, talking, seeing my son, probably not in that order, but doing those sorts of things massively have a huge impact on me feeling really positive. And if I don't do them, it makes me feel really shit and negative. Work as well. Work can massively affect us all. If you have a really good day at work, we spend most of our lives at work, don't we? So if we have a really good day at work, you can feel great. And if you have a quite a tough or challenging day at work, then that can also get you down a bit. And how I've learned to probably adapt from that is perspective. Like you're never going to have a great day all day. You're never going to be happy all day, but you have happy moments and you have good moments in a day. And but with that, you'll always have bad moments in a day. And it's just being acceptant of that. You're always going to have that up and down, and never get too high, never get too low, and try and find that sort of consistent in the middle. That's probably where I'm at.
Like that answer. No, thank you for that. Do you know what the question is now?
I like cheesy garlic bread. No, so give me again. Come on, ask me properly. I'll take it serious. Ask us properly. Dean, you haven't said.
What is the biggest thing that impacts your mental health negatively and positively?
Negatively, it has to be food. Food's a big one. Affects my mentally. Obviously, I'm going to see a psychologist from eating, which is something that came about. So that's probably something. It's a vicious circle because you eat because you're sad, but you're sad because you eat. Yeah, it's a vicious circle. What?
Because
Yeah, it can also be the opposite way. You feel happy and you celebrate. Like me personally, when I lose weight, whenever I get my target weight and I get where I want to be, I celebrate by eating food. And then you end up just going back the other way because you've sort of starved yourself for X amount of time. So I think it can impact me both negatively and positively with the food side of things as well. Because you feel good, don't you? It's like your dopamine rush, getting that kebab, pizza, garlic bread special. Like,
Plus, fucking 2 weekends in a row. Can you give it up? You know what I mean? It's probably going to be 3 as well if I play well tomorrow. Positively, what influences is friends and family. I don't give them enough credit. I know I will make a joke, but myself and Lewis have been on walks. Lewis, like I say, came round when I was not very well. These boys on the podcast, I think being able to go to the gym with the likes of Ryan and Rob, I know we're joke on, but they're big releases because, really you want people who you can relate to and, tell you that things aren't going to be so bad. Like I probably whinge at those two and Vinesy sometimes. I've always whinged at Vinesy, but I'm always saying stuff and they're always seeing a positive to it. And I think people like that are invaluable and they won't throw you under the bus or drop you at a hat or whatever the phrase is. I don't fucking know. That pint's got in my head. But basically, no, I'm going red.
I fucking love this.
Basically, people who cherish your friendship and don't want to just be friends because you can do something for them. Like I know if I go to Vinesy, if I go to Rob, if I go to Ryan, James Harris, he's gonna fucking sleep. Next person.
It's because you're talking.
Imagine how I have to fucking listen to your voice all the time. Well, my options are
Just moaning about how long it's taking you to get it all out, man. Fucking hell, we haven't got all day.
Like, I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing else.
To be fair, we've got Buey, who, big shout out to Buey, one of the boys, messaging saying a negative impact for him is letting my family down and not doing the right things for them. Positive impact is when I know I've done something to help my family have a better life and they appreciate it. I think that is such a key thing. If you're, as a man, and this is probably a slightly different type of way of answering that. As a man, I feel we have so much pressure on us to be the provider, and it's not that your relationship dynamic might create that. I feel that as a man, that I have to be the provider. I have to be the one to look after them, make sure they're safe, protected, and that's as much how we're brought up, aren't we? We have to be responsible. It feels like, and especially Buey, I know you've got a young family and you've got a missus, and the pressures of being a dad and being a partner are really challenging. So how you perform in the most important responsibility of your life, whether that's good and bad, will massively impact your moods on that as well. So yeah, that's really true. Richie's come back to hammer you a little bit here, saying negative for me is that Sherman Plump not even mentioning me on his friends list. He doesn't even like Ryan. At least Richie watches the pod. Ryan doesn't.
Ryan doesn't watch the pod. He doesn't watch me play football. I've asked him every time I play. I ask him to come. He doesn't.
Yeah, he's got a life though,
I
hasn't
think I does. But Ryan puts
Yeah.
his child and his missus in ahead of me, and that's not a friendship. So,
That's not a friendship. That's not.
no, Richie is an absolute diamond. I love him to bits.
Yeah, legend.
I don't really give him a shout out because he decided to be selfish and have a kid, and he doesn't bother with me anymore. So
Fair.
I mean, so
Fair.
that's on him. So, but he is my godson. Ben is my godson.
He is your godson. Your godson?
No, I'm Richie's godson.
You're Richie's godson.
Richie's my dad.
Okay. Reese, you have some other questions.
Yeah, just to touch on Bowie's comment there as well. Like, so family is a massive thing. So when I was trying to stop the drink, sorry to go back down this path again. When I was trying to stop drinking, I kept letting everybody down. I would say I was going to an AA meeting and I wasn't. I was in a pub. Things that I just kept letting them down all the time. That's what essentially took me onto the train tracks. That last time I drank, I didn't see any other way of stopping. And I completely just gave up hope. I didn't know what else to do. And that was where that took me. Whereas now, after stopping, everything's going so much better. And that is, well, obviously I know my situation and your situations, that's loads different. And that's why I've got no issue with you having a drink. And I can say to you, when you're having a drink, and happily just drink that, and it doesn't affect me because I know that my life is much better without it in it.
To clarify for the listeners as well, we knew that. So if that wasn't the case, Ethan probably would, but the rest of us wouldn't have a pint around Reese, to be fair. So we know that as a group of friends, don't we? That Reese doesn't mind us having a beer around him. So yeah, that's definitely something we're aware of. Reese, do you have another question?
Yeah, and we're going to start with James for this one. What's your favorite place you've visited and why?
So we touched on it earlier. I'm in the military, so I've been fortunate enough to go to. No, what? Yeah, as I touched on earlier, I'm in the military, so I've been fortunate enough to go to quite a few different places. The best place I've been hands down Malaysia. I was there for about 6 weeks. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Best place I've ever been. I've recommended to anyone. You don't really hear about people who want to go to Malaysia. Yeah, it's just class. Yeah, like just class. You'll probably say. So I went to Kuala Lumpur, but most of the time we were in Penang. So it's a lot cheaper. So it's a lot cheaper. It's not the capital. And everyone there is just so nice, so accommodating. Really good. I was lucky enough. I was lucky enough while I was there. So like flights and that are expensive. I think because Asia, isn't it? But I would recommend anyone to go there. I've also. That's what I said, isn't it?
Why is it expensive? What's wrong with Asians?
There's nothing wrong with Asians.
It's pricey, it?
It's just because it's far away.
Try and make me be
something that I'm not. I don't know. I also beginning of the year I was in Vegas for 4 months of work and all. But that's got nothing on Malaysia at all. I know every 4 weeks, nothing on Malaysia. You go. I think if you think every lad wants to go to Vegas, like because it's fucking Vegas, you know. But when you get there, you've got an idea in your head what it's going to be like, and it's pretty much that idea you've got. Going to Malaysia, you don't really know I didn't know what to expect. So when I was there, opened my eyes so much, like, and I do want to go around Asia a lot more. It's so nice.
No, thank you for that. And I like that about Vegas as well because it's somewhere I've always wanted to go and I never got to while I was drinking. And it kind of seems a bit pointless now. I've stopped betting. I've stopped drinking. That's pretty much all Vegas is, isn't it? Really. So I'll head out to Dino for his answer on this question.
I just want to touch on the Malaysia one. When I went, the best thing I used to enjoy is just going to like they've got like supermarkets or like malls, and in the malls they've got like all of the bowling alleys and cinemas, pool, and it's all next to nothing. Like I think I spent like a full day there and spent about 10 quid. It was unbelievable. But I've done a bit of traveling. I met my wife in Australia.
So my mum's brother's wife, so technically, but they married. It's not like long story short. I really fucked that up, didn't I? Basically, they're from Australia. So her comment, Lee, hi Lee, she's saying Australia. You have some Australian stories.
Good ones. I went to Australia. I went with the idea that I was going to travel. And I probably didn't really have much of a work ethic until I went to Australia. And
didn't bring it back either then.
Didn't really have much of a work ethic until I went out there, and you could earn quite good money, and the overtime pay as well. So I was just working non-stop. So when you go to Australia, you have to do 3 months farm work if you want to get a second year. And while I was doing that farm work, I met my wife, who's Japanese, and then tricked her into coming back to Wallsend. So
not quite as glamorous, is it?
You know what's interesting? We were like in the Gold Coast in Australia, and you know, if you Google it or if you've seen it, it's gorgeous. And like if you go on Google and you Google Whitley Bay, like it looks as nice. And I remember showing her them pictures, and she was like, "Oh, this looks amazing." And then we came back, and it was like October, and she said, "Can you take me to the place?" And I took her there, and I just remember, you know, grey sea, grey sky. She was like, "This looks nothing like the pictures." I was like, "Oh, you just have to wait till summer." And I think that COVID hit, we barely got any way to be able to even go out, you know. But yeah, Australia's good. Thailand, Bali was really good. All them, Asia's a fantastic place to travel. It's really cheap as well. You get good value for money. So it's an amazing place to be. But yeah, all of it.
Have you ever thought about like when he was younger going to like do the old farming thing in Australia? Like quite a few of my pals did that. So quite a few of my pals were lucky enough to go to America, the States, to do football or soccer as it's known, and coach and things like that. But then a couple of people like my pal John Gray, you know, a few people like that have gone over. Dan Kenny, people like that who've gone over, and they've like done work and visas. Then now, you know, John's got a girlfriend and child over there. You know, a whole different life. I mean, did you guys have those avenues, whether it was like America, football or scholarships, or potentially going to work in Australia, similar to what you said?
Yeah, is this working now? So when I was younger, never really thought of anything like that, to be honest. I do like the idea of traveling, but when I was in Malaysia, there's like a lot of hostels and things like that, which are attached to some of the good bars there. So you get talking to a lot of people who are traveling, they're working as they're traveling to obviously pay for it, and it opens your eyes. There's so much out there. You don't have to chase a career to have a good time. Like these people just dropped everything, getting little jobs on farms or and they're having the best time of their lives, and some of their experiences are just mad. Like you just don't expect this. So when I was in Malaysia, when I started thinking about it, and I've got a mate as well. He's also in the military. He's leaving. Got a visa. He's got a flight going out to Australia as well. Work out there. Yeah, so I do want to work abroad eventually. I've had a bit of a change of heart, so I was looking for a job out in Qatar. But the guys out there are really hitting the road and not getting back to me. I don't know where I stand. So as I'm leaving the RAF, there's been a lot of thought into what else I could do if that doesn't come through, which has totally changed my outlook now. I'm going to go down a different route, which will definitely be better for the future, more sustainable, because I could go out to Qatar, earn a lot of money now, tax-free, but then I'd end up coming back to the UK on a lot less money. I'll also paying taxes. So it would be a big step down, and I feel like it'll be a big struggle, really, being used to so much money. But in the future, yeah, once I get this new career going and I get qualified, just be an aircraft technician. Or no, not an air hostess, mate. Couldn't find a skirt that fit me ass. But yeah, that'll be better in the long run because pretty much like guaranteed a job, a lot of money, and you can do it anywhere. So yeah, that's my answer to that. I would love to travel. Yeah.
Appreciate
Sorry,
it.
was that, how monotone was it?
You want to know? I think that's just you touched on an interesting subject, and something I want to mention to you. So one of my pals is just got a house. His first house with his girlfriend. Really tough, he's still a quite young man. What is the perception as men of what life should be? And I think I might do a round table. I'll start with me. I'm fucking wicked. But basically, when I grew up, obviously the epitome is you get a good job, you get a house, you get a mortgage, or you get a nice, not a nice car, but a family car. That's the sort of thing you grew up to, and that's what people strive to. I don't know if any of you did similar, or what was your environment like growing up, and what was the expectations from you? You know, I was lucky enough to have a really amazing support network with, you know, my granddad, my mum was fantastic, my nana, you know, my auntie Gillian Keith, people like that. You know, the list goes on. But I really laugh at the end of the day, like.
I just laugh at the names. You name drop so much on this podcast.
I do, but I think like for us, I want to know. I mean, I'll start with Rico, then Dean, just to bring you guys in. What was your expectations as being a man and growing up, and what was the ideals behind it?
Yeah, so mine was pretty much similar to yours, like the nice car, family, house, that sort of thing. That changed as I was growing up. When I started drinking and stuff, it was the traveling. So I'd planned to, I know, touching on a previous subject in with this one, I planned on going to Australia to do traveling so I could just go and party over there, really. But I could never save up the money because I was just always out on the drink. So I did a bit of traveling and stuff, but that was where I see my life going. I obviously went and moved to Bermuda. That's where I met Charlotte.
That's so random.
Yeah, well, I won Northeast of England Young Chef of the Year. Someone was there who said, "Do you fancy going working in Bermuda?" Why not? So I went over to Bermuda, met Charlotte within a few months of being there, stayed for about a year, moved back, now got 3 kids. It's pretty mad.
She's from up here then?
She's from North Yorkshire, so like an hour drive away. But
Chances of that's so random.
she was just working in some like big hotel doing massage and stuff like that.
She was. Oh, hey.
So I we met there, and it was an amazing place. Like it's tiny. It actually is absolutely tiny, but it was that is as well. She'll confirm that one. No, but it was I've done a bit of traveling. I've had that life, so that's why I can now be happy settling down, having the kids, just enjoying other parts of life, because everything previously was just about the memories I could make on the drink. And then so now, like, that's where it's all changing. I'm happy to be here back in Kilmarnock because I've been other places. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Do you know what about you, mate?
Um,
Don't want to be rude. Yeah, great.
no, I'm just sort of thinking. I'm just thinking about the answer.
Well, that's because I'm not going to be rude here, but your life, it's not as traditional, because obviously your missus has got different background, different beliefs, it's a completely different way of life.
Yeah.
I say that with all respect. She's a lovely woman. I've met her a couple of times. But how did your life starting? Did you think that would be your life, or how did it come up? Like,
bit backwards, me, because my first girlfriend.
I'm not gonna.
What?
You started.
I did start backwards. Yeah, I got in a pretty serious relationship when I was 17, 18. Basically, not getting to the long story short. Well, I'll do long story short is we. Yeah, this is the story. This is that story. I'm not going to take it up because I'll be at 5 o'clock and we've got people coming in.
Story.
It's not. It's just
With
she's kept
the-
interrupting us like you are doing now. I'd be finished by now.
See, Dean's stories, like
Honestly,
I feel,
listen, Jay.
yeah. Honestly, if you ever want to go to sleep on a nighttime, guys, just find a snip where Dean's talking, and it gets you to sleep.
Yeah, it'll be hard to find. But anyways, so long story short, we ended up sort of adopting a sister into the family. So I was responsible for a teenager when I was like 17, 18 years old. And that was a sort of, I didn't end up drinking, didn't end up going out or anything like that. Yeah, but... So when I came back, yeah.
That was horrible.
Definitely getting cancelled.
Yeah, but needs to be rendered. And then, yeah, you've just sent me off track.
So basically, you moved away. You moved down to Cornwall. You were with someone. So you moved your life down there. You ended up essentially adopting someone who was younger sibling. That's where you're at.
Yeah. Well, my life was backwards. I didn't go out drinking, didn't go out partying with the boys. I was sort of responsible for this 13-year-old. So when I did end up breaking up with her, I was like sort of 21, 22. I got into another serious relationship, and the same thing sort of happened where I didn't go out partying and stuff. So it wasn't until I was about sort of 25 did I start going out with the boys and that sort of stuff, you know.
Joe's laughing.
And I'm trying to talk. My knee's been a pretty. Joe. Are you ready? You listening? And so yeah, I did mine all backwards. Then I went traveling. So never thought I'd ever meet my wife in Japan, Australia. Yeah. But yeah, no.
I get it.
A little bit about her culture, like because in all seriousness, we obviously went to your wedding. It was a fantastic wedding. Well, the nighttime was fantastic.
You didn't really speak to Dean, have you? You guys have never really crossed paths before, have you?
No, I couldn't invite the whole football team. The ones I did invite didn't come. So thank you, Dan, Ray, Owen.
Were there any difficulties when you were trying to embrace her culture and vice versa? Then
the miscommunication. It's because I take for granted. Yeah, that's the one. Take for granted the fact that she's speaking her second language, and as much as you remember that, it's hard to remember that all of the time. So sometimes when we have that miscommunication, you get mad about it, and you don't really think. And then every now and again, I'll have that. Mainly when I have the drink, I get emotional about it and think, you know, well done, I'm so proud of you. But I probably don't say that so much when I'm sober. But that's probably the biggest difference is the language barrier. In terms of culture, she's embraced our culture quite well. They don't really do much different to what we do. They're just really, really heavily focused about work and stuff like that. But I take my work quite seriously. I try and work hard when I am at work and things like that, which is sort of one thing that drew Azusa to me, you know.
So what you were saying there, when you've had a few drinks and you say you're proud of her and things, is it of what she's overcame, or
the fact that she's come to this country and moved away from her family, her friends. There's not a huge Japanese culture community in Newcastle as well. So especially when we came, first 2 years was like COVID. So it was really hard for her to meet new people, and it was really a struggle at the time. But that sort of ironed itself out now. She's got a lot of friends. There's a community of sort of like 30, 40 of them here. She got a good job working for a Japanese company in Berkeley as well. So that's helped her. She's had promotion up on promotion, pay rise on pay rise. So she's pretty much the breadwinner now. Not quite, but yeah, no, she's done really well. I'm really proud of her, to be honest.
Brilliant. And maybe just you should have those conversations more. And I think coming out with us, saying that to us, it can maybe reflect. And if she's listening, yeah, she can understand how much you appreciate her and you sort of respect her and how well she's done embracing this. So yeah, credit to her. I think credit to her.
No, definitely, mate.
Definitely. Just speak. Come on, you've not spoken for 5 minutes.
I don't know what the question was. Can you remind me of the question?
I've got the question as well.
Was it something along the lines of what did I expect out of life at a younger age? Definitely not what it is today. So as we've talked about before, so at 18, 19, so 19, 20, 21, obviously had a business. We've talked about that before. I was way more successful than I should have been at a certain age. Lost it, went through all of that stress. We spoke about it before. Then went and worked for essentially a university. Loved that experience. Learned loads. Learned probably how business should be done. Then had a business after that. Again, I've successful again. Failed. And now I sit here at 30 after being in a relationship for like it was 10 years. So we broke up fairly recently this year, and we would have been 10 years yesterday. So like that probably all hits you where like you're like, I'm 30, I've got a son, I'm now a single dad. Like I have a good job, I have a good career. But again, it's not, life isn't what I wanted my life to be at 30. Like I wanted my life to be probably like, I think the challenge for me is, and we've spoke about this on and off the pod, at 19, 20, probably when we met each other, when you first came into my sister's life, like I had a lot of money, so I could do what I want. I'd party all the time. Like we'd go on boys' holidays, we'd like go out and be the idiot on a night out who spent way more money than I should. And now I sit here at 30 and think I probably focused too much of my life trying to prove that I was someone instead of just being the person I want to be. And I know that's really deep and probably taking the conversation slightly down a different angle that you were trying to get it to. But I sit here now at 30 for the first time after a broken relationship saying, I probably need to do the work myself, not blame external factors, and say, if I want my life to be what I want it to be, then I have to put the work in. And that starts with looking after my own mental health, looking after my own sort of finding that peace within yourself of don't do the things that you're going to regret tomorrow. I think that's a big thing. I was told that by a very wise person once when I was in the middle of doing some stupid shit, like we all have done. Like you're going out and going on the piss, or like you're spending too much money or whatever. Like the next day you wake up and go, why did I spend £500? Why did I do whatever? Because the next day your bank balance is just £500 down. You might have bought your friends all the drinks. The next day your mates don't go, oh Lou, cheers for buying me, cheers for paying for the full night. And we've spoke about this even fairly recently. Like no one the next day goes, thanks, I'll send you that £100 you spent on me. No one does. The next day you're just £500 down. So there's all of those sorts of things where like trying to be a little bit more sensible. I have a son, so that makes me think I have to start actually being a grown up. Even though I've always felt like I am a grown up, if I look back on my mistakes and my decisions, I've made lots of very short term decisions in the moment, impulse type stuff versus setting myself up for the future and the life that I actually want.
Very deep. The fact that you've admitted that and not being rude, it's you've done self-destructive behavior. You know, the drinking, the almost trying to buy friendships that you already had in place. Because no disrespect, I know I joke on and say we're acquaintances, not friends, and things like that. But you know, I love you to bits, mate. And I think everyone at our age group when we were younger loved everyone. You know, yourself, Lewis, Haribo, we all loved you, and you loved all them, and you were part of us. You came in a bit later than us, but it didn't differentiate. I think maybe looking back, you're trying to justify your friendship by buying the drinks, the rounds. And I've been there. I'm not going to lie. You know, even recently, we went to the pub and you were buying pint after pint for us and things like that. And it's those behaviors that can be damning because you're a great guy and you don't need to do that. And that's what you need to overcome. And yeah, you've made mistakes, but you just need to try and appreciate that people value you and respect you as a friend without money involved, without the free drinks, because you bring a lot of positive things to friendship. And it's not just, like I said earlier, it's not just what you can give people and get return from them. You know, just be your friend because you're a nice guy. I mean,
yeah, appreciate that, mate.
I think that's the case with all of us. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? There shouldn't be any stipulations about people trying to buy friendships. You know, if you're a younger person out there and you're in this rut that maybe you are in or were in, maybe don't do that. Maybe look and see if you're on that rut, go a weekend without buying the drinks for your friends.
Go the weekend without going out. I think that's the big thing. Like because I'm used to my life being a certain way, right? And where it is now, I'm just bored. Like I actually am bored where so we joked about the bowling night, right? Yeah. We joked about that. We were sat there both not drinking going, what the fuck do you actually do on a Saturday if you're not going out on the piss? Like we'd gone for food, we went and watched football, and it's like, now what do you actually do? Yeah. And I think the dilemma I've got at the minute, right? I'm training so much and I am absolutely loving it. but I'm training because I'm bored.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like I need another purpose. Like I'm super busy. Obviously, I have a really busy job, run a podcast, help run a football club, like have a son. Like I am really busy, but my brain doesn't let me just switch off. Like I have to always be doing something. And the alcohol and the going out almost appeases some of that like boredom in your head. So yeah, I need to find another positive outlet other than just running or playing football or whatever.
We are all willing to try them. It can be obviously Reese has mentioned the dip clubs, the sea dips, things like that. We all go to the gym. I think it's just part of life. You need to get to the gym, get out moving, look to try and, if your mind's not in the right place, getting out and moving might actually help it. Job's saying he got on his hands and knees in front of us when I'm making a really good statement.
And he keeps crawling under the table, which is awkward. Joe, get off, man.
Get off, Joe. Can I just say, though, if you don't have anything to do on a Saturday night, you can always come to the Gulshan in Tynemouth, the best curry around.
Yeah, 100%.
And the best pints if you do want to drink. But if you don't want to drink,
then they do a great Peroni Zero as well.
Exactly.
Just to touch on that, I know that feeling. Well, all that feeling all too well. I spent a lot of my first drink. I remember feeling, whoa, I feel great. I had loads of confidence in that. I think one of the reasons I became so dependent on drink was because I had struggled with low confidence as much as I did. I don't think I ever realized how much I lacked confidence until really I stopped. And then one of the parts when I was stopping, it's that whole, like you said about that Saturday night. I struggled with. I didn't know. All that I was used to doing was going out for a pub. Like if I wanted to see people, you would go to a pub, you would have a drink. Take that away. Who am I? What have I got? What am I going to do now? And I did really struggle with that for a long time. Like I say, my story is now where I've completely accepted I can't drink, and that's just the way it is. And I can now come out and have a Peroni Zero and not be bothered that you're drinking. Dino's measuring his water. But like, no, you're a great guy, like Ethan said as well, and I appreciate your friendship massively.
Cheers, mate. Really appreciate that. Like genuinely, and I think we talk as much off the pod as we do on. And the problem is we could talk for hours, especially like I think me and you do talk a lot about lots of things anyway. So yeah, James, the question probably flipped to you. Is life what you wanted it to be? Is life how did you envisage it growing up versus where you are now?
This one's an interesting one though, because you have a house. I know you travel about work, but really you're
what I'm trying to explain. James, you're the outcome of what we really wanted. So yeah, if you could maybe shed that light.
Yeah, so I always going through school, I just wanted to make money. I wanted to get a Range Rover. Wanted to get a Range Rover and drive around in a Range Rover. If my mum was watching, like she'll what do you say? She'll agree with that. Like she always said it. Like, but that's the thing. Like I'm not interested in that now. Like you know what I mean? Your life changes so much. I think the job that I've done not working.
Maybe put it closer.
Put it closer.
Turn it all the way. Yeah, and then pull the mic towards.
How's that?
Technical issues.
Oh, is that good as this? Yeah, but basically, I've noticed now since I'm leaving and I'm looking for more jobs. The fact that
Are you looking for a job or a career?
Career, absolutely a career. Like it's always been my thing. Like I always wanted to like work for a company and just work my way up. So yeah, like I had a lot of shit like when I was in the RAF. Like I was out in Cyprus and like some shit happened and that's made me like fall out of love with it and really hate it, to be honest. Because essentially got my head kicked in and I was treated like a criminal and it took over a year for it to get sorted. So I was like weighing me down and it was just shit, to be honest. Yeah. I had a shit time because I got my head kicked in and then I was treated like a criminal and it took over a year for that all get sorted. So I fell out of love with it and just wasn't enjoying it. And since I've been through that, it's opened my eyes a lot because not only am I highly employable, just because I was in the military. Like, there's so many people out there who have been in the same boat, who've left and they're doing really well. So yeah, my life from say when I was in school, what I wanted it to be, totally changed now. But it's so exciting still because I'm 24-year-old, so I can get another career, and I've got time to work my way up and do things like that. So yeah, I'm glad that what's happened has happened. Like, I don't regret anything. Yeah, it's just opened my eyes a lot, and my outlook has changed completely. Even within the last few months, really. This new career that I want to go into, like becoming a licensed aircraft engineer. It sounds class in my opinion. It's just like that's what I want to do now. So yeah, cars. I'm not asked about cars, which I'm quite thankful for, because I know a lot of people who are proper into their cars and they're so expensive, and yeah, that's not me. So I'm lucky in that respect. Yeah, I'd like to have a house as well. So we're in the process of viewing houses now. So hopefully we'll get one soon down here in the northeast. So yeah, completely different outlook from a few months ago, where I was all I wanted to do was live in Qatar. But yeah, I get my license. Say I get my licenses, there's nothing to stop me from then going out, and I'd probably be on more money than what I would have been if I went out now. So
whereabouts in the northeast?
Hartlepool.
It's not Sunderland.
It's not Sunderland.
That's a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say there, how will, if you are working away, how will that dynamic with your wife? So
I'll talk about my wife in India. She's class. Honestly, like she will never hold me back ever. If I want to do something, like she's the person. She's like, right, go and do it. Like, it's like Las Vegas. So we were living in a house together. She's 300 miles away from everyone. Dropped everything to move with me, and to the north of Scotland, and like the list came out for who was going to Las Vegas with work, and I wasn't on the list. I was like, good, but I didn't want to tell her because I didn't want her to know that I wanted to go. Like, I kind of wanted to come that like, oh, like I've been told that I have to go. Like, but like it was probably getting me down. Like, and I was like, all that stuff that happened in Cyprus, I was like, well, I wonder if it's down to that, if that's like a reason. But I did nothing wrong, so like, why would that be a reason? So yeah, and that was probably getting me down, to be honest. And then I spoke to her. I was like, listen, I've got to tell you, like, I'm not on the list for Vegas, but I really want to go. And she was like, nah, that's like bang out of order. Like, go in and like fight your corner. Like, she was like pushing me, do it. But she was in the house on her own for a month. Like she has no friends there. Which it was really sad. And see when I got on the coach to travel down to the plane that we were getting, and like she dropped me off, and then seeing her go, I was like, this feels hot.
I'm going to party for a month.
No, but see, I wasn't thinking about that, and I was honestly gutted. Like, so, like, I don't cry or anything. Like, not because I don't want to. I just think I physically can't. So I get like proper emotional, but like it's like feels like there's no release. So like I'm just there on the coach, and then we got a Ring doorbell. So she pulled up, parked the car in front of the house, and then I was like waiting on the Ring doorbell to say I love you and that. And she was in the car for ages. I was like, oh, she's crying. She's on her own for a month. She got no one. I felt so bad. And when I went away previously, like I've not been the best. Like, I was going out partying, just with the lads all the time. It's basically like a big paid lads holiday sort of thing, Like it's mad. And this is what she says to me. Like, when I go away with all my friends and that, my work colleagues, like everything changes for me. Everything's different. So it's exciting for me. Like, I'm not bored, but for her, everything's the same at home. Just I'm not there, and like, yeah, she finds it hard, like especially being alone. Like she didn't know anyone, so that was really hard. That's another factor. Like, that's why I want to leave. Like, I don't want to do that to her anymore. Like, she deserves a lot better than that, and I've been horrible in the past. Like, especially when I was in Malaysia, like every night just going out, like not texting her for like over 24 hours and that. And she's worried. She just started university as well, and big step for her. And I just wasn't really there, to be honest. And there was one time that I had time to give her a FaceTime call. She was in IKEA, and she just dropped everything and phoned me. But I never did that to her. You know, when I was out with the lads, like I was out with the lads. So it's proper shit, and that was really horrible for her as well. That's the closest like we've been to like breaking up from that, and yeah. But now like we're better than ever. Like as I say, like she's class. She'll let me do anything. Like she'll push me to what I want to do, and yeah, help me, support me.
That's quite remarkable. The fact that she stood by you when you were traveling. She was stood by the whole time, you know, and you've. I think that's a big step for you, mate. I know you're the youngest member of the pod, and we rip you, but the fact that you're admitting that you've probably not been there for her in the way that she's been for you, and now the fact that you're trying to rectify it, that's a massive step, mate. And I hope that long continues and he's continue to grow as a couple. Like you say, you're going away, you're a lad's lad, which is nothing wrong with that. But obviously, maybe not taking her thoughts, her insecurities into perspective. So now, mate, hats off that you've took that step now and you're at that place.
Yeah. So going off that, like when I was in Vegas, like it was a lot better. And she'll say this as well. From all the other times that I've been away, yes, I was going out in Vegas and having a good time, but I was making sure I give her the time that she needed. And she'll tell you herself, like when I was in Vegas, it was a lot better for her than all the other places that I've been. Yeah, I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Because when I'm going out and I'm not giving her attention or phoning her, I know she's in the mood, so that makes me like not really want to talk to her as much because I know I'm going to get an earful. But this time, like I made a conscious effort, like, and yeah, it was so much better for both of us. I think so much better for both of us. So yeah, although I was better the last time that I went away, I still don't really. I want to do everything with her. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I know that feeling as well. Not to the extent of Vegas in the north of Scotland, but obviously Charlotte's not from Newcastle either, and it might only be like an hour and 15-minute drive, but it's still not home. Yeah. And she doesn't know that like loads of people here still. So then I went and worked last year in Carlisle, and obviously that's not far away either. But it was that fact that I was away from home, and it was like I was there from Monday morning through till Friday night, and just at that time before I'd started cutting the drink out through the week. And then I got there and it was like, whoa, there's no one here to tell me now that I can't drink. Yeah. And I would finish work, I would go straight in for a couple of pints before we even met for food, then have food, and then I would be the last one out. I wouldn't speak to Charlotte on the phone. And then I knew if I hadn't done it for 2 days, like when I was texting her and stuff, I could tell she was in the mood, and I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to face 30 minutes tonight because I'm just going to get in the neck. And that caused a massive issue.
And I think it builds into something bigger, though, doesn't it? It builds into, there's almost like the level of not resentment, but like, I don't trust you're not going to have a go at me, so therefore any interaction with you is only a negative. And that's us to own, because if we didn't go out on the piss, they're fine because you called them a relatively okay time. So yeah, absolutely get that, mate. Fully on that page. Conscious of time here because we're going to wrap it up over the next sort of 10 minutes. And Job is just rotating a camera, which is very good there. Well done, Job. We can't see it, but we could see you doing it. One thing before we wrap up, there's a question for each of you here. What do you all want to achieve with the podcast? We haven't really had this conversation off camera. I normally direct what I say is going to happen and how we're going to do it. But generally, what do you all want to achieve or want to get out of the podcast? Maybe over the next couple of years. We'll go with you, Reese, first.
Good question. And I know we're going to have a bit of a chat about it afterwards anyways and where we want to take it. But for me, like Ethan said before, if we can help one person, then which we have. Yeah, then keep increasing that, helping people. Like the message we're sharing and some of the guests we've had on has been amazing so far. We've just got to keep continuing and get these really good guests on. Challenge. Yeah. But like, yeah, I think the message is really important because for me personally, it gave me, like I said before, it gave me a really good platform to come and make me feel better.
Yeah.
And then from that point, that's just grown, and I'm now doing stuff with different charities. I've got a couple of events coming up in November. One where I'm going to be on a charity's AGM, and then I'm on a panel for another sort of charity discussion thing in November. So, but for the podcast, I would like to see us doing some actual events, even like just a dip. Start off small, but then build up and do like I don't know, a night camping in the lakes. But then like,
Me and Dean will go.
but then where you've got like we're inviting people who are struggling. We can do cold water dips. There's any amount of places. You're walking about, you're doing exercise, camping, sort of thing. That all that sort of stuff is great for your mental health. Sort of things like that. Just build it that way. But yeah.
Cool. Dean, what about you? What do you want to see what do you want to get out of the pod, and what do you see the pod doing over the next year, 2 years?
I'd like to see us grow much bigger, like get a lot more listeners. Especially some of the episodes that we've had with like Ray Winston and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people need to see that and have a bigger audience. But maybe branching out to do other things, as we said, like getting people, especially in the Northeast, involved in maybe physical activity and stuff. I know me personally, but the question came around before about the mental health. When are you negatively impacted and positively? And mine's like when I get injured and I can't exercise and things like that. That does me, like, because if I'm not exercising, I'm not eating well and things like that. But getting out and doing physical activity is probably one of, if not the most important things for your mental health. And having things and events that we can do as a pod with people in person or like on YouTube, like sessions with Slater and things like that, I think would be a massive help for people. And I'd like to see us sort of branch out and do those sorts of things, sponsored walks, and even stuff that we can do ourselves as well, where we can set ourselves challenges and take viewers, listeners along with us.
Almost build a community.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost like even for like Reese is going to be doing these ultra marathons. If we could stream them, or maybe we can come out and.
Are you gonna run behind him, filming the full thing?
And then you're like on the scooter in front and do the video AI.
It's along Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chopper through trees down on the way.
Hadrian's Wall, Ben Nevis,
Yeah,
and Snowden.
Well, I'll.
Jesus Christ, settle down.
I'll decline no sponsor.
Ethan, what about you? What do you want to see the pod, and what do you want to get out of the pod over the next sort of year, 2 years?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'm going to be quite selfish compared to the other guys. Thanks, Dean. I'm angry at you now for that. Are you angry at me before? For me, I think I'm going to be a little bit more selfish than these guys. I have had ups and downs in my own life, and I've been a piece of shit at times. I've been a bad friend. No, jokes aside, I've been a bad friend. I've been a piece of shit. I've been a bad boyfriend, love our date or whatever. I've been bad to my family. As much as I'm a joke and I say things that I try and mean well sometimes, and I need to atone for these mistakes, but I also want to be there for someone that wasn't there for me. So when I was making these daft mistakes, I didn't have someone there to say, hold on a minute, that's not right. Or don't send that text. Don't do this. Don't do that. I didn't have that, and I didn't have a guidance. Like I say, my family and friends and they're great influences, but I didn't really have that male role model in my dad, who wasn't really about, which we've mentioned. And it's hard to rely on people and other people's parents, like Mick and Jane, Lewis's parents. They were great influences, but I haven't had my own, so I've made mistakes, and I want to be able to say to people that are making the mistakes that I made, it's all right if you've made the mistake. Ideally, we want to stop you making the mistake. But if you've made that mistake, you're not alone. Don't have those thoughts, the negative thoughts. People, it's not as bad as people think. People don't hate you. People still love you and cherish you, even though you've made those mistakes. And like I say, if we help one person, and I'm meant for the mistakes I've made by helping someone, personally, I think that's what I want to do. And it's okay. We all make mistakes. We've all had bad days. I tell you what, you'll have more good days than bad days coming up. So,
That great answer, that Ethan. James, what do you want to get out of the pod over the next year? Where do you see the pod going? What are you after?
So for me, I've said it multiple times that like I've never really suffered badly with mental health issues. I've been down on that, yeah, of course we all have, but never been to the extent that some of you guys have been. So I kind of want to keep it that way. So I feel like if I'm talking now to you guys about anything that might get me down, then that will prevent it from happening. Hopefully, again, helping people as well. Like I'd like to know like how many people we have helped so far. So like, if anyone could like comment or anything like that about whether or not this has helped you and what more you'd like to see as well, so we can try and accommodate as many people as possible. But yeah, like main thing, a little bit selfish, like Ethan, but I want to prevent myself from getting into a bad situation. I feel like everyone goes through ups and downs in their life, so if you've got that platform and that the people to support around you, then hopefully you'll never get to that point. You know, it's just about speaking up. I know we had that infertility guy come on, which was really helpful for me as well. Yeah, and then so I was confined to camp actually for a week, and the last day that I was there, that's when I was going to go and give me sample. So I was on camp just waiting for something to happen. So I was waiting around, bored out of my mind, just on my own. Like
Can't think what you were doing then.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I had to abstain. So I was there bored. It was like honestly, it was torture. It was torture. I'm not only was I bored, horny as fuck.
Can we just say that I ended
On such a lovely term. Now we're talking about James wanking in a cup. Can we just say that?
To be fair though, it's all part of men's health, right?
So James basically wanted to do this men's podcast because he wants to wank in a cup. That's what I'm saying. You just ruined my answer. And tell them more. What were you watching when you were wanking?
Oh, I don't think I'll go into that, to be honest. Nah, we'll get cancelled.
I was going to say I'll bring it back as we wrap up here. All great answers, so very well done. I agree with all of them, and it's nice to hear probably the selfish part, because as I alluded to at the start, for me the podcast has been it's the reason I'm here. Like, being truly honest, I've went through a really, really shit year, so without you guys, cheers, mate. I'm appreciating these 2-pint hugs that people are getting, to be fair. It's good. But yeah, it's been a really shit year. So selfishly, to keep giving me an outlet to come and talk to you guys, listen, learn, the guests been incredible. So I want better guests, and not better as in famous, just more improved guests every single week. I equally want us to then focus on, again, how we can grow it. So you all know me well enough where my brain always works. How can we make this into something commercially self-sustainable, where it turns into something that is revenue generating? I work in marketing. I understand how we can do that more effectively. The key is we probably need to just start working a little bit smarter, whether that's more clips, more shares, engaging more businesses, creating more communities, all those sorts of things. I think there's so much more we can do to develop the pod from what it has been over this last sort of 8, 9, 10 months, whatever, of us being a group of mates talking, to then now how do we make it more impactful for the audience and the general public. And I think that's where we, hopefully with these types of conversations together face to face, we can start to transition this from a hobby into maybe a hobby that has more of an actual impact. Because where you guys say you'd love to hear some of the feedback, James, I know you just mentioned that. Obviously, I have a little bit more of a following than some of you on LinkedIn, for example. And I, after every episode, might get 30, 40, 50 messages from people saying, like, honestly, that was incredible, really loved it. So maybe I just need to share that with you guys more.
I think it would be good to have like a number of how many people we help, and then like say like by the end of the year we want to help this amount of
target,
and we just push it as far as we can go. Yeah.
Like, my ultimate aim is that this is the outlet for men to listen to realize that you're not a piece of shit. You aren't the worst person in the world. We're all very similar. Our decisions and our choices in life massively impacts how we feel, and it's mainly about making better decisions, feeling that you're not the worst person in the world, and live life with, if you fuck up, that's fine, but learn from it. Don't keep making the same mistakes, because that's when life ultimately gets away from you. But yeah, I think that seems like a great place to end it. We've had lots of comments. Super grateful for all of the comments. Mark coming out from Australia saying you listen to us every week coming home. Honestly, really appreciate it, Mark. Honestly, so much. Jane, I think that's your mum. Yeah, I'm sure I recognise this. So very well done today. Really enjoyed listening. Jane, really appreciate it. Everyone who's commented, liked, shared. Honestly, we're so grateful. Without you guys, this is just a group of lads talking. With you guys, this is a group of lads talking, trying to make a difference in people's lives.
Definitely. And just to reiterate that, everyone who's dropped us a message, there's a lot of people that we work at a telecoms company, and we've helped a lot of people along the way. A lot of people messaging us, even men, women. It's not just, even though we are the Everyman, I've had women reach out. No, I don't encourage. I do encourage you for that. But just a big thanks as well to the Gulshan and Timemouth who hosted us today. Massive thanks. Looking forward to the all-you-can-eat curry now, which was promised beforehand. But yeah, great episode, guys. Thank you very much.
So before we go, please like the podcast, share the podcast, comment. We're super grateful. Obviously, we're available on Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Follow us on all the platforms, or the platform that you generally catch your podcasts. And we will catch you on Monday night, where we have a very special guest. We
always have a very special guest, according to you.
No, but we have Josh Walker, an ex-professional footballer, played for Watford, Middlesbrough, England under 21s. He's going to come on and talk about his story. He was plagued by injuries by the end of his career. Really, really cool lad. Really nice bloke. Got a lot of time for Josh. So I'm sure it's going to be a great episode. So thank you very much, and we will catch you on Monday.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.